I love to learn anything
And
that I
also
can.
help me with my own identity.
A world where she feels the confidence to speak her
If you
mind.
believe in yourself, to see what you can do
It's a
personally.
blissful moment.
Everybody has that moment where they trying to find who they are, what their motivation is. My dream is like the typical garage setup. I would like it to be a family business. I'm pretty hands-on, I'm good with my hands. I've always been interested in fixing stuff. When I'm under that car hood and I'm working, it just make me feel like I'm powerful and I can actually do something. When I do that service for somebody and they appreciate it, it make me feel, that's the best feeling in the world, I can't lie. It's like a garage with all the tools and stuff. I want to incorporate an uplifting theme. I would imagine me having posters of all the civil rights leaders and Black role models and community leaders and stuff all over the walls. I don't want to be as expensive as most garages because we're gonna be based in a low-income neighborhood. If I could be any animal, I would be a bird so I could fly above the clouds when it rains and storms. But that's beautiful. You can do anything you want, literally, if you just put in the work.
And courageous, that was inspirational, bro. Keep dreaming. That animation was a project to highlight the amazing things happening at Best Buy Teen Tech Centers all across the country, and right here at the MLK Center too. Hey everybody, I'm Benny Anderson, and I'm going to be the host for today's MLK Center's Founders Breakfast, where we are recording live in the Best Buy Teen Tech Center. So let's get to the show. Grab your coffee, grab your breakfast, and join us to celebrate the Martin Luther King Community Center in Indianapolis. We would like to wish a happy birthday to Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. He was born on January 15th, 1929. Thank you everyone for tuning in. I would like for you guys to put a note in the comment section on what you ate for breakfast today. Next up, I would like to introduce the board president, Mr. Devin Thomas.
Thank you, Benny. You're doing a great job. My name is Devin Thomas, and I'm the board president of the MLK Center. On behalf of the staff and board, thanks for making the time to support us today. I am truly humbled by the community support for this organization as we educate youth, empower families, and build community. I would like to thank the Indianapolis Airport Authority for sponsoring this event, as well as our board member, Rachel Stevens, who is the Senior Director of Human Resources at the airport. I joined the board in 2015 and then served as treasurer before becoming board president. I love serving this organization and want to make sure it's around for years to come for summer camp youth, just like when I grew up in the neighborhood. This is our 6th Founders Breakfast. For the past 5 years, we've been gathered together, eating breakfast and sharing what we love the most about the MLK Center. This past year has been very different and challenging for all of us. I'm so proud of the staff who responded quickly to this health emergency and delivered more than 10,000 meals to youth and their families. Thank you to all of the volunteers who delivered those meals, as well as Patachu Foundation and Second Helpings, along with the other partners who provided these many meals. We've also distributed more than $1.7 million in rental and utility assistance. Let me say that again, more than $1.7 million in emergency assistance. We will continue to support the families as they get back on their feet in 2021. Thank you to the staff at the MLK Center who care about their neighbors and do this important work every day. We have 22 staff members, now growing from just 2 in 2015. I also have the privilege of serving with 11 other volunteer board members, and I'd like to give them all a chance to introduce themselves before passing it back to Benny.
Hi, my name is Rick Powis. I live right next door to the MLK Center in Tarkington Tower. I've been a board member for approaching 3 years now, starting out as the Tarkington Tower liaison member and progressing up to the role of treasurer for the year of 2020-2021. I've enjoyed my time very much at the MLK Center, getting to know people in the neighborhood and most especially with the kids. It's been a great experience And I encourage any of you who have any interest at all in working in the neighborhood to come by.
Hello, I am Lisa Mims. I'm an IU physician and I practice in OBGYN. I've lived next door to Tarkington Towers, next to MLK Center in the Tarkington Towers for over 5 years, but I've only been a board member for around close to a year. I've learned so much. However, due to COVID, I haven't been able to participate the way I would like to, but hopefully this upcoming year, I can participate more, learn more, and get to meet more of the Tarkington and Butler residents. Thank you.
Hi, my name is Ryan Puckett. I live in Mapleton Fall Creek, and I have been part of the MLK Center board for 6 years. It's been great to see everything that the center has accomplished and what it has grown into and what the staff have become over at the center. And so thank you for joining us for our efforts to just further build awareness and build programming for the center. So thanks a lot.
Hi, my name is Rachel Stevens. I've been a board member now for the MLK Center for just over 2 years, and I live north of the center. I'm going to tell you my very favorite thing about the center is the Best Buy Teen Tech Center. I love seeing these kids learn new skills and hang out in the Teen Tech Center. I think it's pretty cool. I love seeing them in there and then taking those skills back out into the community, and so I really want to thank you all very much for your support.
Hi, my name is Dana Harrison. I've been a raving fan of the MLK Center because I think the impact that it makes in the community is tremendous. And I have so much admiration for the staff and for the community overall. I've been fortunate to be a board member a short time, just joining this summer, and really appreciate the opportunity to share the organization with you today. Thanks for being part of the journey.
Hi, my name is Siobhan McAvoy-Levy. I'm a professor at Butler University and also the director of the Desmond Tutu Peace Lab at Butler. I've been on the board for about 2 years now. It's an amazing place to work. We've enjoyed very much our partnership with the youth and with the youth workers at the center. We've done research together, we've traveled together, we've had dialogues together, and they're just a great bunch of young people, a great bunch of employees there. So thank you for your support. I encourage you to continue to support them to the best of your ability. Thanks.
Hi, my name is Evelyn Ridley Turner, and I have been on the board probably, I think this is my second term, so it'll be 6 years. I have lived in the Butler-Tarkington neighborhood since I was in grade school, and when we got married, we bought a house not very far from where I grew up. So I have known the MLK Center from the time it was the AAA Hoosier Motor Club. I was asked to serve on the committee by two outstanding citizens who were part of the MLK Center in its early days, Lucy Regal and Charles Williams. I couldn't turn them down, but I'm so glad I didn't, because it has been an experience that I have cherished. Working with the staff, growing the staff, the kids, it's a wonderful place in our community. And I think that we were a well-kept secret for all too long. And now I think our secret is being exposed. So thank you for coming. Thank you for supporting us, and look forward to seeing you, not virtually, but in person at our next MLK breakfast. Thank you.
Hi, my name is Regina Majors. I'm an audit specialist for State Auto Insurance Company. I became familiar with the Martin Luther King Center through the National Council of Negro Women, where we hold our meetings, and also with it being the AAA Center as well. I've been on the board for 2 years now, a proud member of the board. This last year has been very horrific for me, and just to see the Facebook posts and the things that Jillian Charity, other employees are doing there, just gives me hope and excitement to walk in and see the kids prior to COVID, how they're excited about what's going on at the Martin Luther King Center, even the Butler and reading. It's just awesome. And so I'm just grateful to be a part of this wonderful board and excited that you're supporting us today and that you will continue to support us as we continue to give back to the community by increasing our awareness of what's going on at the Martin Luther King Center. Thank you so much.
Hi, I'm Jeff Cheeseman. I live near the Martin Luther King Center. I wanted to stop in one day and see what it was about, and I'm really glad that I did. I'm a big fan of the center, big fan of Allison's leadership, and I encourage you to support. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Devin, and to all of our board members. Now, the teens here at MLK, we love food, and breakfast is my favorite. Even though we can't be together eating breakfast, we're going to bring the joy of food right into your living room or office today live. Which one of my viewers have been to the Chopped Seafood restaurant? If so, then you would know how popular Chef Oya's food is. Now, we're happy to have Rick with us today, sharing a favorite recipe with us. This is going to be amazing. Check this out.
Hi, I am Chef Oya Woodruff of Chef Oya's The Trap. We are located at 3355 North Keystone Avenue here in Indianapolis. I am the owner and executive chef. I am so glad to be here with
Trinity.
And
Courageous.
we are supporting the MLK Center's Founders Breakfast. I am going to show them how to make a quick curry, codfish, and grits breakfast or brunch, and let's get rolling. So what we're going to start doing, Trinity, tell me a little bit about yourself. What you got going on? What's the best thing that's happened to you recently?
I just moved into my first apartment.
Oh.
So I'm really happy about that.
Are you super excited about that?
Definitely.
All right. And this is your first apartment.
Yes.
And I take it you don't really cook much? Did you cook a lot at home?
I like cooking. I just don't know how.
So you like it, but you would rather do a little bit more?
Yes.
You don't know how to do it. Well, let me get you rolling on something that seems really, really fancy.
Okay.
But it's not. But it'll make you seem like you fancy. So if you have some friends over or something, you can kind of flex on them like that. Yeah.
So Chef
Yes,
Oya,
sir.
is this some type of bacon?
This is some peppered bacon just from the deli at the market. We're going to use this bacon to put into the pan to use as a base. From the fat is going to render from the bacon itself, and the fat is going to be kind of used as a base to continue to sauteing our vegetables for the sauce, for the curry.
Just a little bit of extra flavor.
Yeah, a little bit extra flavor and deliciousness in there. You know, bacon always makes things better. We also have some codfish, and this is some beautiful wild caught Alaskan cod that I got from the deli, and I'm just gonna cut that in a couple of different pieces. It smells good and fresh. I'm just gonna cut that into a couple of different even pieces so that when we cook it, it shows up real good. Next, we are going to work on seasoning our fish. You're gonna take some Himalayan sea salt, some thyme, some pepper, and then we also have the Young Bay seasoning, which is the seasoning that we use on our seafood at the restaurant.
So is it like your special seasoning?
It is our special seasoning. We have this specially made just for us from our business partner, Chef Candace Boyd, and she helps us do that. So we're gonna season this fish up with some salt. And remember, when you season things, you always season things on both sides. With some pepper, with some of the Young Bay seasoning, and we're gonna flip those over and do that again. A little bit of salt, pepper, and our Young Bay seasoning. So before And like with the young bae, we want it to go on all sides. So I'm gonna rub that seasoning into the fish on both sides. And kind of tap the cutting board so you get every single side of it. So there's no side left unseasoned. Because you don't want to take a bite of it and it's super duper flavorful. And then you go and take another bite and you ain't got no seasoning on it. That don't make sense. And that's another thing, little details like that when you're cooking really matter. So that you don't, leave anything to chance. And you can just continue to wow people with like every single bite of your food. You know what I mean? So I'm going to go ahead and get this pan on. So look, this is boiling. So what we're gonna do, we're gonna take that off of the heat because milk will boil over. We're going to turn that down to low. We're gonna go ahead and get our grits in there.
So once it starts boiling,
Once it starts boiling, then you add your grits. Yep. And then you're gonna stir those real good.
I actually never tried grits.
You've never had grits before?
Never in my life.
What about cream of wheat?
Cream of
no?
No, man.
Oh, well, I can't think of anything that might, other than oatmeal, but it's not gonna be the same texture. Yeah. Well, you're in for a treat today. And the first thing we're gonna do is we're going to render our bacon. So I'm gonna pull the cutting board over here with our fish and bacon on it. It's still not quite hot enough for me. You wanna make sure when you start to cook your food that your pan is hot. You want that sizzle when you hit the pan, right? When you're cooking certain things. So I feel like my pan is hot enough. So all I did was cube and chunk some bacon. Yeah. So we're gonna get that rolling. Excuse me. Excuse me.
So with the fish, does it really matter? I know it's gonna affect the name of the dish, but do you think you could make this taste good with any type of fish?
You could make it taste, when you're doing, personally, just for me and like for, Southern cuisine sakes, it's really good to do, when you're doing it in this type of setting, it's really good to use like a flaky white fish. Oh. So you could use cod, you could use, red snapper is popular, tilapia is popular right now. So any white fish that you want to use, that you like, that you enjoy, it doesn't really matter. So we see how this bacon is cooking up and rendering. You see as the bacon cooking, the bacon is cooking, the fat is kind of melting. Yes, right? We got a little bit of that rolling. All right, so now I'm gonna hit this pan with some of the Island Curry trap butter, right? So that's about a couple tablespoons. So again, that's some garlic, some tomato, some onion, and some red pepper, right?
Yes,
ma'am. Until your onions kind of get yellow and translucent from the seasoning, right?
Yes, ma'am.
We have added some of the Island Curry trap butter from the Trap Restaurant to the pan before we get our fish done. So we're gonna go ahead and get our fish in here. And I cut these pretty small, so they'll cook up real swiftly. So we're gonna get those rolling on that first side. It smells even better now, don't it?
Yes, ma'am.
Fish hit that pan like, woo! So one of the good things about using trap butter when you're cooking, especially in this kind of instance, is that once you get the trap butter in here, so it's got your oil and it already has seasonings in it. So what you also want to do is make sure that you're not cooking it at too high of a heat, because you don't want to burn the seasonings that are in there, you know what I mean? But you also want to get a good crust when you're sauteing. See that?
Yeah.
Look at that. Isn't that perfect?
Yes, ma'am.
Look at that.
So the texture of the fish, you kind of want it like kind of a little crispy on the outside?
On the outside,
oh, okay.
Yeah. On the outside, you want it a little crispy. You want it to have a little, a good crispy texture to it on the outside so that the inside can still remain tender, you know, as you're cooking. So we're gonna turn the heat down on that a little bit and put those together. We got a good outside crust on that. Then we're going to add our vegetables back to that, kind of surrounding it. And I'm gonna add a little bit of the lime juice to the fish and the vegetables. And what that lime juice does is citrus. When you're cooking anything, kind of gives you a little bit of brightness to the food, right?
Right. Yeah. Just enhance the flavor a little bit.
Enhances the flavor. So I want to taste these grits. Okay. They have plenty of salt in them. The next thing we're gonna do to flavor the grits is we're going to add a little bit of our OG garlic herb trap butter. And this is the most popular trap butter that we have at the Trap. It's the best one that we have at the restaurant. Well, I wouldn't say best, because they're all delicious. Right. But it's the most popular one that we serve at the restaurant. So we're going to add some of that, and then we're also going to add a little bit of sharp white cheddar cheese.
So do you choose cheddar because of your preference, or is...
That's just my preference. A lot of folks use cheddar cheese, or fontina is really good for grits when you're doing it in this fashion. And when you want to be really fancy, you can make anything look fancy if you just put some green onion on it. I promise. Right?
Right.
And it look even more fancy. Instead of just cutting it in circles, cut it on an angle. Right. So it kind of has a crisscross cut to it, right? So does it look like something that you can try to do when you're at home?
Yeah, definitely.
Wasn't that hard, was it?
Yeah.
We're almost done. That up real quick, excuse me. And then we're gonna come over here.
I can't wait to taste.
My taste buds say it all.
What do you taste? What kind of flavors do you taste? Like, what stands out to you the most?
Wait, one more bite.
Okay, that's fine.
It's like, and the grits make it really cheesy, but then all the vegetables and stuff make it crunchy, so it makes up for all that softness, so it don't feel weird in your mouth.
What you thinking about?
All just combined.
I'm just liking it.
Well, I'm glad that you guys like it. It was my pleasure to cook it for you.
Appreciate you taking care of and teaching us how to cook.
My pleasure. All right.
Grit kind of tastes like eggs a little bit. Or maybe I just need to take a bite with just grits.
Tastes just the grits, because it could be the texture that you're thinking of because it's kind of fluffy.
Yeah, they just remind me of eggs. They don't really got the flavor, but they got the texture.
Yeah. I just want to say thank you so much for allowing me to come in and help you guys or show you guys how to make my curry codfish and grits. You can find me at chefoya.com. You can find me on 34th and Keystone at The Trap, or you can go on to our social media. You can find The Trap at Chef Oya's The Trap on Facebook and The Trap Seafood on Instagram. You can go to my personal page on Instagram as well at chef_Oya.
Now, I don't know about you guys, but I'm hungry now. So thanks, Chef Oya. If only we could smell it through the television. If you like what you saw and heard, go to the Trap Seafood on 34th and Keystone, show some love, and get you some trap butter. Also, thank you to our committee member, Mr. Rashad, and his wife, Liz, for letting us use their beautiful kitchen. As we said at the top, today is Dr. King's birthday, and his words are still so relevant today. Let's hear from him directly.
Moreover, I am cognizant of the interrelatedness of all communities and states. I cannot sit idly by in Atlanta and not be concerned about what happens in Birmingham. Injustice anywhere is a threat to justice everywhere. We are caught in an inescapable network of mutuality, tied in a single garment of destiny. Whatever affects one directly affects all indirectly. You deplore the demonstrations taking place in Birmingham, but your statement, I am sorry to say, fails to express a similar concern for the conditions that brought about the demonstrations. I am sure that none of you would want to rest content with a superficial kind of social analysis that deals merely with effects and does not grapple with underlying causes. It is unfortunate that demonstrations are taking place in Birmingham, but it is even more unfortunate that the city's white power structure left the Negro community with no alternative. In any nonviolent campaign, there are 4 basic steps: collection of the facts to determine whether injustices exist, negotiation, self-purification, and direct action. We have gone through all these steps in Birmingham. There can be no gainsaying the fact that racial injustice engulfs this community. Birmingham is probably the most thoroughly segregated city in the United States. Its ugly record of brutality is widely known. Negroes have experienced grossly unjust treatment in the court. There have been more unsolved bombings of Negro homes and churches in Birmingham than in any other city in the nation. These are the hard, brutal facts of the case. On the basis of these conditions, Negro leaders sought to negotiate with the city fathers, but the latter consistently refused to engage in good faith negotiation. Then last September came the opportunity to talk with leaders of Birmingham's economic community. In the course of the negotiations, certain promises were made by the merchants, for example, to remove the store's humiliating racial signs. On the basis of these promises, the Reverend Fred Shuttleworth and the leaders of the Alabama Christian Movement for Human Rights agreed to a moratorium on all demonstrations. As the weeks and months went by, we realized that we were the victims of a broken promise. A few signs briefly removed returned. The others remained. As in so many past experiences, our hopes had been blasted and the shadow of deep disappointment settled upon us. We had no alternative except to prepare for direct action, whereby we would present our very bodies as a means of laying our case before the conscience of the local and the national community. Mindful of the difficulties involved, we decided to undertake a process of self-purification. We began a series of workshops on nonviolence, and we repeatedly asked ourselves, are you able to accept blows without retaliating? Are you able to endure the ordeal of jail? We decided to schedule our direct action program for the Easter season, realizing that except for Christmas, this is the main shopping period of the year. Knowing that a strong economic withdrawal program would be the byproduct of direct action, we felt that this would be the best time to bring pressure to bear on the merchants for the needed change. then it occurred to us that Birmingham's mayoral election was coming up in March, and we speedily decided to postpone action until after the election day, when we discovered that the Commissioner of Public Safety, Eugene Bull Connor, had piled up enough votes to be in the runoff. We decided again to postpone action until the day after the runoff so that the demonstrations could not be used to cloud the issues. Like many others, we waited to see Mr. Connor defeated, and to this end we endured postponement after postponement. Having aided in this community need, we felt that our direct action program could be delayed no longer. You may well ask, why direct action? Why sit-ins, marches, and so forth? Isn't negotiation a better path? You're quite right in calling for negotiation. Indeed, this is the very purpose of direct action. Nonviolent direct action seeks to create such a crisis and foster such a tension that a community which has constantly refused to negotiate is forced to confront the issue. It seeks so to dramatize the issue that it can no longer be ignored. My citing the creation of tension as part of the work of the nonviolent resistor may sound rather shocking, but I must confess that I am not afraid of the word tension. I have earnestly opposed violent tension, but that is a type of constructive, nonviolent tension which is necessary for growth. Just as Socrates felt that it was necessary to create a tension in the mind so that individuals could rise from the bondage of myths and half-truths to the unfettered realm of creative analysis and objective appraisal, so must we see the need for nonviolent gadflies to create the kind of tension in society that will help men rise from the dark depths of prejudice and racism to the majestic heights of understanding and brotherhood.
That was Dr. King reading his letter to other clergy members from his jail cell in Birmingham. His words are still so relevant today. Hello, everyone. I'm Allison Luthi, the Executive Director of MLK Center. Please go ahead and mark your calendars for the Friday before the Dr. King holiday next year. We look forward to our 2022 Founders Breakfast event and seeing you all in person. It's exciting that this year actually falls on January 15th. Happy birthday, Dr. King. He was born on this day in 1929. This year is also special because in 2021, we will be launching our nonviolence training, our local version of a conflict resolution and leadership development program based on his 6 principles of nonviolence. I had the privilege, along with Charity Malone, our community builder, of traveling to Atlanta in 2019 and participating in their Nonviolence 365 training at the King Center and meeting Dr. King's daughter, Bernice King. The Chicago Nonviolence Institute has trained all of our staff, and we're ready to go. This nonviolence training is key to our mission of helping people find a place to learn, play, grow, and find peace right here in their neighborhood. We've been learning from this training that nonviolence is an inside job for each of us. And we hope to carry the message far and wide as one tool toward ending racism and oppression in our community. We all have a role. 2020 has been bittersweet for all of us. Many of you have blessed us with donations above and beyond our expectations. We've been able to support families in our community like never before. As Devin mentioned, we've distributed more than $1.7 million in emergency assistance. But we all miss having gatherings at the center and being able to hug our neighbors. We look forward to eating breakfast with you all this time next year. I want to take a moment to remember 2 of our young people that we lost recently, who our community and staff members loved dearly. First is David Lowry Jr. David was in the first Tarkington Teen Work Crew that we ever had, back in the summer of 2017. Unfortunately, he was shot and killed in June of 2020. And like many teenagers, he was taken from this world way too soon due to gun violence, and reminds us of the important work we are doing to save lives and continue supporting those experiencing the trauma of grief and loss. Losing a loved one and a friend never goes away. Andre Henderson was in our first apprenticeship program here in our Best Buy Teen Tech Center in 2019. Tragically, Andre was hit by a car while riding his bike on 38th Street just a few weeks ago. You've probably seen the memorial to him at the corner of 38th and Boulevard. Thank you to everyone who donated toward the cost of his funeral expenses, and we continue supporting his family as well during their grief and loss. After a tragic 2020, many of us are missing friends and family members right now. May their memories be a blessing. But thank you to each of you who supported our emergency work in 2020. Stay tuned over the next few weeks as we share more information of the launch of the MLK Center's nonviolence training, as well as ways you can donate toward our building renovation project. Our building was built in 1962. We've been here since 1997, and it's time to replace some of the original mechanicals and windows in this wonderful building. As we get closer to our 50th birthday, you can help make sure the MLK Center is around for another 50 years. Thank you to everybody for joining us. Back to you, Benny.
Some pretty amazing things are happening here every day. I love that we get the chance to dream, just like Courageous in his mechanic shop Sunday. Type down below what you love most about the MLK Center. Now we would like to introduce Ali M. Hart, who is the secretary of our board and served on the Founders Breakfast organization committee. Now we're going to talk about the money.
My name is Ali M. Hart, and I am the secretary of the board of directors. I used to pass the MLK Center every day driving to work and didn't know much about it, but started to hear more and more about the great work they were doing with kids in our neighborhood. So I reached out to Allison and started volunteering, and then joined the board because I was so impressed with the impact the center was making in kids' lives. From the elementary students learning to read to the teens dreaming in the tech center, the MLK Center gives these kids a fun, safe, welcoming environment when they might not otherwise have a place to go. I really believe the center is carrying on MLK's legacy in their everyday work. Today, it's my privilege to ask you to make a financial investment to support our day-to-day operations. At last year's breakfast, we launched the Legacy Fund, and you all invested more than $35,000 by pledging $1,000 per year for 5 years. That was amazing. We hope to pass that goal today. You can learn more and make your pledge or donation by following the link below to mlkcenterindy.org/breakfast to join our Legacy Fund. Thank you for whatever amount you're able to give. These funds go directly to help save lives. But don't just take my word for it. Here are Benny and his friends again to tell you about the impact of the MLK Center's work.
We're all about empowerment. We work together with everybody to meet them where they're at to help break down the barriers.
What ends up happening to a lot of people in my surroundings and in my neighborhood, they get locked up or they get killed. And those two situations that I don't want to find myself in. My life would be really different if I didn't get associated with the Martin Luther King Center. So different, in fact, that I don't even know how it would turn out.
By contributing funds to a place like the MLK Center, we're able to, combat and come up with programming that helps these kids.
You should fund the MLK Center because of the innovative tasks they accomplish. They do things a lot differently than other community centers by allowing the youth to have a voice, allowing people from the communities to work inside this community center.
I've been here for almost a year and a half, and I've changed as a person. I can see the change, and people around me who've known me for a long time can see the change too.
One thing that I can say about the MLK Center, one thing I can say about Allison Boothie is she tries to create opportunity for everybody.
I definitely would recommend the MLK Center for a simple fact that it changed my life. Me personally, And the reason why I would recommend it is because they're just going to help you out. They don't care what situation you're in currently.
You should support the MLK Center because they help. And coming to MLK Center helped me a lot because I saw people who care.
I'm motivated by helping somebody avoid the mistakes that I made and being there for them, supporting them. By redirecting them, they're becoming a leader.
If you want to have a successful and stable life, and if you want to break that cycle, I would recommend the MLK Center.
Thank you, Ali. I loved that video, even though we got real sentimental. We know this breakfast has been different, but MLK has stayed open since last March, providing whatever the community needed us to do and providing a safe place for teens like me. Thank you for everyone's donation, time, and money today. We hope to see you for the breakfast next year, so mark your calendars and have a great weekend. Peace.